20 forgotten snacks from the 1980s we want back. Do you remember the snacks that made the 80s unforgettable? From chewy treats to crispy bites, the 80s were packed with quirky, delicious snacks that defined our childhoods. In this video, we're taking a nostalgic trip down memory lane to revisit 20 iconic snacks that shaped the decade. Dunkaroos. Dunkaroos weren't just a snack. They were a full-on experience that brought excitement to snack time. When you cracked open a pack, you knew you were in for something special. Crunchy little mini cookies paired with a rich, creamy frosting. But the real magic came in the power you had over the snack. You got to decide just how much frosting went on each cookie, turning every bite into a personalized treat. That frosting was something else. Smooth, sugary, and oh so sweet. It turned Dunkaroos into more of a dessert than just a snack. And let's not forget the irresistible classic combo of vanilla frosting with rainbow sprinkles. That combo was hands down a fan favorite, and kids everywhere were trading them at school, trying to score the best flavors. Sadly, Dunkaroos disappeared from store shelves in the early 2000s, leaving a generation of fans heartbroken. But good news, they made a triumphant return. Still, for those of you remember the original, nothing quite compares to those childhood moments of dunking and snacking. Fruit Wrinkles. Fruit Wrinkles were tiny bursts of flavor that felt like opening a little treasure chest of fruity goodness. Unlike the sleek and uniform fruit snacks we see on shelves today, these chewy treats embraced their quirky appearance, resembling wrinkled, shrunken pieces of real fruit. Each one was small, sticky, and packed with bold flavors like strawberry, cherry, and grape, delivering a delicious pop of sweetness in every bite. Parents were drawn to them too. Fruit Wrinkles were marketed as a snack made from real fruit, which made them seem like a healthier choice. And here's a fun fact. These little gems were created by General Mills, the same mastermind behind the iconic Fruit Roll-Ups. While Fruit Roll-Ups went on to become a beloved staple of lunchboxes everywhere, Fruit Wrinkles quietly faded from store shelves in the early 1990s, leaving a nostalgic gap in the world of fruit snacks. Big League Chew. Big League Chew wasn't just gum, it was a cultural phenomenon that brought the spirit of baseball straight into your hands. With its unique shredded texture, it mimicked the look of chewing tobacco, offering young fans a playful way to feel like part of the big leagues without any of the downsides. The gum came in its iconic pouch, designed to resemble the tobacco pouches often seen in the dugout, but it was all about fun and flavor, not bad habits. Flavors like classic bubblegum and grape exploded with sweetness, making it a favorite for kids across playgrounds and ballparks alike. But the story behind Big League Chew is just as unique as the gum itself. It all started with two players from the Portland Mavericks, a quirky and independent minor league baseball team in the 70s. They wanted to create a safer, more kid-friendly alternative to the chewing tobacco that was so common in the sport. Their idea wasn't just innovative. It became a sensation that blended nostalgia, flavor, and baseball culture into one unforgettable product. Jell-O Pudding Pops. Jell-O Pudding Pops were the perfect mix of creamy, cool, and comforting, a frozen twist on a dessert classic. Picture this. A hot summer afternoon, the freezer door opens, and out comes a brightly wrapped pudding pop, its smooth, creamy texture promising instant refreshment. It wasn't just a treat. It was a highlight of summer, turning the rich flavors of chocolate and vanilla pudding into a portable frozen delight, unlike anything else on the frozen dessert aisle at the time. Pudding Pops offered a consistency that was pure magic, dense and velvety, just like real pudding, but refreshingly cold. The simplicity of the flavors, chocolate, vanilla, and the iconic swirl, kept them universally appealing. These pops weren't just the taste. They also carried a sense of joy and fun, made even more memorable by the entertaining commercials featuring Bill Cosby. Launched as a way to turn Jell-O's beloved pudding into a new format, Pudding Pops weren't just a product. They were a moment in time, capturing the essence of childhood summers in every bite. They didn't just cool you down. They brought families together, creating lasting memories with each creamy, delicious pop. Hubba Bubba Bubblegum. Hubba Bubble Bubblegum was more than a treat. It was your ticket to mastering the art of blowing the biggest, boldest bubbles. Sure, the original bubblegum flavor was a timeless classic, but the real excitement came with flavors like grape and watermelon, which added a fun twist to every chew. The gum had a soft, chewy texture that made it perfect for creating those gigantic bubbles that were as much about bragging rights as they were about fun. Unwrapping a piece of Hubba Bubba was its own little moment of joy. That burst of fruity aroma hit you before you even took a bite, setting the stage for the sweet, long-lasting flavor that outshined most other gums of its time. And let's not forget the iconic commercials, packed with humor and playful energy. They made Hubba Bubba synonymous with bubble-blowing fun. Which 80s snack did you miss the most, and why? Let us know in the comments. Planters Cheese Balls. Planters Cheese Balls were the pinnacle of snack time, packed in their unmistakable blue canister that practically shouted fun. These weren't just snacks. They were little orbs of joy with a texture that struck the perfect balance between crispy and airy, dissolving in your mouth with every bite. Of course, no cheese balls experience was complete without the telltale bright orange cheese dust that coated your fingers, a badge of honor for true snack fans. These weren't your average cheese snacks. They had a certain charm that made opening a can feel like an event. Whether it was for a movie night, a party, or just because, popping open that lid was like unlocking a world of cheesy happiness. Though they disappeared for a while and were rebranded as cheese balls, any one of you remember the original knows there's nothing else quite like them. Bonkers Candy. Bonkers Candy was one of those treats that never failed to surprise and delight. Each piece was a little square packed with flavor, a soft, chewy outer layer surrounding a juicy, fruity center that burst with sweetness in every bite. With their bright colors and bold flavors, Bonkers Candy became an instant favorite, delivering that perfect pop of sugary goodness that kids loved. But it wasn't just the candy itself that made Bonkers unforgettable. It was the quirky, wild commercials. Picture this: giant pieces of fruit plummeting from the sky and bonking people on the head in hilarious, over-the-top scenes. Those commercials were as wild and fun as the candy itself, making Bonkers a pop culture moment. Another thing that made Bonkers stand out was its texture. It was chewy enough to enjoy, but not so sticky that it left you struggling to get it out of your teeth. For a candy that was all about bold flavors and fun, Bonkers hit the sweet spot, leaving a lasting impression long after the last piece was gone. Ecto Cooler. Ecto Cooler wasn't just any juice box. It was a total pop culture phenomenon. Released as a promotional tie-in for the iconic Ghostbusters franchise, Ecto Cooler quickly became a favorite, not just for its refreshing, citrusy tang, but for its unforgettable neon green color. It was like drinking a little piece of the movie, and that bright green hue made it stand out on shelves like no other drink. The packaging was just as fun, featuring Slimer, the mischievous green ghost, you remember, who became the face of the drink. It wasn't long before Ecto Cooler became a staple in lunchboxes and fridges across the country, outliving its original promotional run because fans just couldn't get enough. It was more than a beverage, it was a memory. Sadly, Ecto Cooler was discontinued in 2010, leaving fans longing for that sweet, tangy flavor. But in 2016, nostalgia hit hard when it was briefly brought back as High C Ecto Cooler. reigniting the love for the legendary drink. For those of you remember the original, Ecto-Cooler wasn't just a drink, it was a piece of childhood magic. Whatchamacallit was the candy bar that was as fun to say as it was to eat. Introduced in the late 70s and catching on throughout the 80s, it brought a quirky twist to the candy scene with a unique combination of crispy rice, chewy caramel, and a smooth milk chocolate coating. Whatchamacallit had layers of texture and flavor that kept you coming back for more. The mix of crispy, chewy, and chocolatey created an unforgettable snack experience. But whatchamacallit wasn't just about taste. It had a name that made it stand out. The commercials played into its unusual name, making it feel like a fun, playful mystery you couldn't resist. It became a candy that kids loved for its novelty and personality. While whatchamacallit never reached the same level of mainstream fame as some of the other candy giants, it built up a loyal fan base. You remember its distinctive flavors and playful spirit. It was a candy that proved sometimes the best things come in quirky packages. Keebler Magic Middles. Keebler Magic Middles were the kind of cookies that kept you guessing, delivering a sweet surprise with every bite. On the outside, they looked like simple, buttery shortbread cookies, but the real magic happened when you bit into them. Inside was a gooey pocket of either creamy chocolate or caramel filling that took the flavor to another level. That contrast between the crumbly, slightly salty exterior and the rich, decadent center made them absolutely unforgettable. These cookies became a fan favorite, a treat you'd save for last to savor each bite and enjoy the sweet hidden surprise within. Their popularity soared, and they became a go-to snack for anyone with a sweet tooth. Sadly, despite their success, Keebler Magic Middles eventually disappeared from store shelves, leaving behind a void that fans still remember fondly today. The idea of that secret sweet center is still enough to make anyone nostalgic for those unforgettable bites. Squeeze It wasn't just a drink. It was a whole experience packed into a colorful, squeezable plastic bottle. With its twist-off cap and vibrant, neon-like colors, Squeeze It made drinking juice feel more like a fun, interactive moment. Each bottle was designed to be squeezed, letting you squirt out the fruity goodness with every press. The flavors were bold and bright, and the colors were so neon, they could have been straight out of a highlighter set, adding to the whole wow factor. Squeezing that bottle felt like a small victory, as if you were in control of your own juicy adventure. Kids would trade flavors, swapping their favorite fruity drinks in schoolyards and playgrounds. The fun was just as much about the act of drinking as it was about the sweet, tangy taste. Though Squeeze It eventually faded from store shelves, it's far from forgotten. For any one of you remember, that little bottle holds a special place in their memories, part of the fun of growing up and enjoying a drink that was as playful as it was refreshing. Waffle Crisp cereal. Waffle Crisp was the breakfast cereal that felt like a sweet treat you could enjoy any time of day. Each piece was shaped like a miniature waffle, complete with those iconic grid marks. And it was coated in a rich maple syrup flavor that gave you all the cozy, comforting vibes of a diner breakfast. The smell of it, sweet and syrupy, was enough to whisk you away to a warm, nostalgic place. But it wasn't just the flavor that made Waffle Crisp so special. It was that perfect crunch. Each bite delivered a satisfying, crispy texture that made it feel more like a dessert than a breakfast cereal. For many kids, Waffle Crisp wasn't just part of their morning routine. It was the best part of waking up, a treat that made breakfast feel extra special. Despite its popularity, Waffle Crisp was discontinued in 2018, leaving fans craving that syrupy crunch. However, the cereal made a brief comeback in 2022, sparking waves of nostalgia for those of you remember it as the ultimate breakfast indulgence. For anyone you remember it, that golden, crunchy, syrupy goodness still holds a special place in their hearts. Nestle Quick Strawberry Powdered Milk. Nestle Quick Strawberry Powdered Milk was the ultimate way to turn an ordinary glass of milk into a fun, fruity treat. With just a few spoonfuls of that bright pink powder, you could transform your milk into a sweet, strawberry-flavored drink that tasted like a candy-coated dream. The strawberry flavor was distinct, sweet, but not too overwhelming, making it the perfect way to satisfy a sugar craving. But it wasn't just the flavor that made Nestle Quick Strawberry Milk stand out. It was the whole ritual of mixing it up. Watching the powder swirl and dissolve into the milk was almost as much fun as drinking it. For kids, it became a daily tradition. Whether it was breakfast or an after-school snack, Strawberry Quick was the go-to choice to make milk exciting. While it's still available in some places, the bright pink powder isn't as common as it once was. For those of you remember though, the nostalgia is real. Just thinking about that sweet strawberry flavor brings back a flood of memories of a simpler time when a glass of milk could be something truly special. Hostess Choco Bliss Hostess was the ultimate indulgence for chocolate lovers back in the 80s. These decadent snack cakes were a dream come true, featuring 2 layers of rich, fudgy chocolate cake with a smooth, creamy chocolate filling in between. On top, a generous layer of chocolate frosting completed the experience, creating a cake that was pure chocolate heaven. For many kids, packing a lunch meant one thing: the possibility of finding a Choco Bliss in their lunchbox. It wasn't just a treat, it was a moment of luxury, a bite of indulgence that made lunchtime feel extra special. Whether you were sharing with friends or enjoying it solo, each bite of Choco Bliss was a mini celebration. Sadly, Hostess eventually discontinued Choco Bliss, and those of you remember its irresistible flavor can only look back with fondness. Though the snack has long since vanished from store shelves, the sweet memories of biting into that chocolate-filled delight still linger for those lucky enough to have tasted it. Oreo Big Stuff took everything you loved about the classic Oreo and made it huge. Picture a single Oreo, but about 10 times bigger, turning a simple cookie into a dessert you could practically hold with both hands. The Big Stuff had all the signature goodness of an Oreo, but on a grander scale. Each one came individually wrapped, making it feel even more like a special treat. The filling was just as rich and creamy as the original, and for many kids, it became a challenge to figure out the best way to tackle such a giant cookie. Should you twist it apart and enjoy the creamy center first, or take a big bite and savor the whole thing at once? The debates were endless. Despite its popularity and the excitement it created, Oreo Big Stuff didn't stick around for long. By the early 90s, it was discontinued, leaving fans wishing for more of the oversized indulgence. Bar None. Bar None was a chocolate bar unlike any other. Introduced in the late 80s by Hershey, it quickly became a favorite for chocolate lovers who craved something a little more sophisticated. This treat featured layers of crispy chocolate wafers, a rich, creamy chocolate filling, and a thick coating of milk chocolate. The final touch was a subtle hint of crushed peanuts that added just the right amount of crunch and flavor to elevate the whole experience. What made Bar None stand out was its refined, almost gourmet feel. It wasn't just a candy bar. It was a chocolate experience that felt tailored for chocolate purists who appreciated the depth of flavor in each bite. The balance of textures, the smooth filling, the crunch of the wafers, and the creamy milk chocolate coating created a treat that was as indulgent as it was satisfying. Sadly, despite its early popularity, Bar None disappeared from store shelves by the mid-90s, leaving fans wondering why such a unique candy couldn't stay around longer. Carnation Breakfast Bars. Carnation breakfast bars were the original on-the-go breakfast option, before the rise of granola bars. Back in the day, these bars were marketed as a quick, nutritious way to start the day, but for kids, they felt more like a delicious treat. Each bar had a solid, slightly gritty texture, and they were loaded with chocolatey goodness wrapped in shiny foil. Carnation breakfast bars came in flavors like chocolate chip and peanut butter, making them a snack that both kids and adults could enjoy. What made them special wasn't just their taste, but the fact that they seemed like a grown-up snack. Kids would grab one before school or during a busy morning, feeling like they were indulging in something sophisticated. They were quick, easy, and gave you that comforting sense of being part of the growing convenience food trend. Unfortunately, Carnation breakfast bars were eventually phased out as snack trends shifted. But for many, you remember, those bars represented a turning point in how we looked at breakfast. Fast, portable, and just a little bit indulgent. They were in many ways the precursor to the snack bars we enjoy today. Marathon Bar. The Marathon Bar was the ultimate test of patience for candy lovers in the 80s. Unlike any other candy bar at the time, the Marathon Bar was a long, braided strip of chewy caramel coated in a smooth layer of milk chocolate. It was a giant among candy bars, stretching to about 8 inches long. This bar's length and its unique braided texture made it stand out from the rest. Each bite offered a satisfying chew that seemed to last forever, making it feel like you were getting more candy for your money. The red packaging of the Marathon Bar even featured a ruler printed on it, highlighting its impressive length in a fun, playful way. It wasn't just a snack, it was almost a challenge, daring you to see if you could finish it before it melted or lost its appeal. The Marathon Bar became a fan favorite, especially for those who enjoyed the long, satisfying chew of its caramel strands. Sadly, by the mid-1990s, the Marathon Bar disappeared from store shelves in the US, though it continued to be sold as the Curly Whirly in other parts of the world. For those of you remember, the loss of the Marathon Bar marked the end of an era, leaving a distinct longing for that chewy, caramel-filled experience. PB Max? PB Max was the candy bar that took peanut butter lovers to the next level. Imagine a thick, creamy layer of real peanut butter spread over a crunchy cookie base, all coated in a rich milk chocolate shell and topped with a sprinkle of oats. It was the kind of treat that felt like dessert in every single bite. The name PB Max wasn't just for show. It referred to the maximum amount of peanut butter packed into each bar. And when you took a bite, you immediately understood the name. The combination of textures was part of what made it so irresistible. You'd first get the satisfying snap of the chocolate, followed by the crunch of the cookie, and finally the smooth and velvety peanut butter that tied it all together. It was an unbeatable combination that made PB Max an instant hit. Despite its popularity, PB Max was discontinued in the early 90s. Although it had a loyal fan base, some rumors suggest the real reason for its disappearance wasn't due to low sales, but rather a business decision by Mars to avoid competing with its other flagship candy, Snickers. Regardless of the reason, PB Max left behind a trail of disappointed fans. You remember it as the ultimate peanut butter candy bar. Giggles Cookies? Giggles Cookies were more than just a snack. They were a burst of joy in every bite. These sandwich cookies, similar to Oreos, stood out thanks to their playful, smiling faces stamped onto each cookie. They weren't just fun to look at, they were also fun to eat. Each cookie featured a crunchy exterior and a unique double layer of creamy filling, vanilla on one side and chocolate on the other. The best part? Kids loved pulling them apart, mixing and matching the flavors to create their perfect combination. Giggles Cookies quickly became a favorite in lunchboxes and at snack time. They were lighthearted and delicious, making each moment feel a little more special. Though they eventually disappeared from store shelves, Giggles Cookies remain a nostalgic treat for those of you remember growing up with them. They weren't just a snack, they were a mini moment of happiness, a playful reminder that sometimes food should be fun. Pop Rocks. Pop Rocks were the candy that gave your taste buds a wild, fizzy surprise with every bite. Tiny bubbles would burst in your mouth, creating a popping sound that was as exciting as it was strange. This candy became legendary in the 80s, captivating kids with its unique sensation and sparking wild rumors about everything from stomach explosion to strange side effects. Whether you loved the thrill or were a little cautious, Pop Rocks were one of those treats that you just had to try to believe. Cap'n Crunch's Crunch Berries. Cap'n Crunch's Crunch Berries was the cereal that took breakfast to a whole new level. With its iconic golden flakes mixed with vibrant, fruity, berry-flavored bits, it transformed the ordinary bowl of cereal into a colorful and delicious experience. The sweet, tangy crunch made mornings more exciting, and for cereal lovers, Crunch Berries quickly became a must-have. Whether you were an early riser or a late-night snacker, this cereal was always there to add a burst of fun and flavor to any time of day. Cheez-It Crackers. Cheez-It Crackers became the go-to cheesy snack of the 80s, and for good reason. These perfectly baked, crunchy squares were packed with bold cheese flavor and just the right amount of salt, making them irresistible. Whether enjoyed straight from the box or paired with a sandwich, Cheez-It quickly earned its spot in snack history. Their timeless appeal has kept them a favorite ever since, proving that simple, delicious flavors never go out of style. Slim Jim. Slim Jim was the go-to snack for kids in the 80s, craving something bold and savory. With its fiery, meaty flavor, it was a protein-packed alternative to the usual candies and chips. The spicy snack quickly gained a loyal following, becoming a symbol of tough guy culture. Slim Jim's portability made it perfect for school lunches and after-school cravings, turning it into a classic snack that kids couldn't resist. Whether as a quick bite or a bold snack to show off, Slim Jim left a lasting impression in the snack world. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Don't forget to subscribe and share your remembers. As always, thank you so much for watching.